today. The big breaking news, of course, that John Bolton has surrendered to now face charges of sharing classified information. And some of this on an AOL account, which, look, no...
You're not going to throw shade
no
at AOL
shade.
users?
Some of us still have our AOL accounts, active. Not going to say who, but some of us, maybe you're looking at one of them. You know what? It's okay. There's a lot of deep history there. You got to do it. But with that being said, Will, why don't you give us a bit of an overview of what led to this moment?
So we remember that there was that raid of Bolton's office and home just a few weeks back. Now he has been charged with 18 counts of mishandling classified materials. 8 of those counts are related to transmission of national security information, and 10 of them are related to retention of classified material. All of this falling under 18 U.S.C. Section 793. That was a part of the Espionage Act, and that is the code section in the U.S. Code, gathering, transmitting, or losing defense information. He surrendered to authorities this morning, was processed, and then already had his first appearance before the judge, who explained the charges, asked if he understood them. And just moments ago, he entered a not guilty plea before the court.
Oh, that's really breaking news.
And so what we're looking at here, though, is a third critic of President Trump that has been now indicted federally. We remember James Comey and Letitia James. While the media would love for this one to be another look, retribution, you're already seeing headlines like this from CNN. Why the Bolton indictment is different from the Comey and James cases. In this one, it's a 26-page indictment. It's what they call a speaking indictment, where it really lays out the narrative of what they found. And it appears that this investigation actually began under the Biden administration. The prosecutor here, Thomas Sullivan, is a veteran U.S. prosecutor. He's out of the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland and has dealt with national security type cases over his career. He's seen as a nonpartisan person. This isn't a new U.S. attorney that was put in by the Trump administration. But we're going to get into some of the allegations because they are kind of shocking, especially when you think about how critical John Bolton was of President Trump during that classified documents case.
Of course, we got to back up a little bit. Remember, he was working for President Trump. So again, this is not necessarily someone who's unfamiliar with the situation. Of course, John Bolton has been a voice that people have known for years.
It appears from the indictment that what John Bolton was doing was he was sending diary entries that he would memorialize classified information, some including attack plans, sources and methods, human intelligence sources, and things about our allies as well, that he was sending this through an AOL email account, a Gmail account as well, and he would send them to what, according to the indictment, according to the reporting on it, was his wife and daughter. There's even conversations back and forth where he would say, "We didn't talk about this," and someone would respond with, "Shh," as if they understood that this wasn't material that should have been transmitted in this way. He makes reference that he's going to use it for a book in one of the messages, not just memorializing it.
So you know happened.
Exactly. And even in that case, because the Trump administration tried to block the publication of that book, because there was national security information that was classified, not for public release, in his book. And the judge in that, which ended up letting the book be published, did chastise Bolton by saying in the ruling that he likely jeopardized national security by disclosing classified information in violation of his non-disclosure agreement obligations. So even a judge noticed and was saying the judge sided more with the First Amendment with his right to publish, but was pointing out it was also a civil case. There wasn't a criminal angle to that. That, look, you likely jeopardized national security by even writing this. So that has been the pattern. We also know that this apparently was a case that was started under the Biden administration. The Department of Justice attorneys started looking at this in the U.S. Attorney's Office in Maryland, and they went forward. It is just coming to a culmination now. When you look even at the left media, that has been trying to frame all this, even with Kash Patel talking about, you will see more indictments. We're looking at people in positions of power that have abused that position in criminal ways. He even said the ones you'll see coming aren't even the end of it. It's just the beginning. But the media has been trying for so long to frame this as political retribution. And even CNN is having to, a frequent person on CNN is John Bolton, are having to frame it like this. We're going to play Bite 4. This is from one of their reporters that has been following this and reports on these things. And this is Caitlin Palance. Here's how even she framed it when talking about this indictment that came forward this morning, Bite 4.
And that is the sort of thing that the Justice Department does say frequently, not just in the climate of a Trump administration, that's something that you should not do. We have seen many charges like this before of other high-ranking officials, and that also with John Bolton in those search warrants, and what we're very likely to see in court going forward is that the Justice Department saying he should have known better.
He likely did.
Well, and one, he did know better, and clearly in some of the messages, it seems like that intent and knowledge that this wasn't okay seemed to be present in even some of these messages back and forth. The other thing is that AOL email account also was allegedly and apparently hacked by Iranians. So it wasn't just that
he was most of our AOL accounts.
Well,
at this
fair.
point.
That is probably a fair statement, but he wasn't taking the necessary care when sending and transmitting all this information by making sure it couldn't fall into the hands of foreign adversaries that then had, like we've already talked about, future attack plans, human intelligence sources, things that are, as other commentators have said, could get people killed. It wasn't just like, oh no, they know that we're going to, spend more here in the Department of Defense. No, these were very real things that related to our national security that our adversaries even gained access because he wasn't using secure channels. He had an accredited SCIF in his home. He could have, if using this for work, could have taken it and done what needed to do in the proper channels, but that wasn't the point. The point was he was trying to use it to write a book, to make money off of his service in government, to use this national security secrets in a way that would benefit him to the detriment of the country. And I think that's where you're starting to see the difference. And this is the guy that was out there so loudly talking about the president of the United States in that entire special counsel investigation, retaining classified documents. It was saying, this is the worst thing ever. This is the end of President Trump's career. He needs to go to prison for this. This is terrible. How reckless, how careless. But yet there's a very key difference between John Bolton and President Trump. One is the president of the United States
facial hair
that has power to, facial hair. That's a key difference, but also has the power to declassify. Mm-hmm. The classification is with the president. Not an advisor that's not even it's a position that's not even confirmed by the Senate. This is just a national security advisor that gets to be a part of this process, but then acting as if you are the supreme authority in the United States government and able to do whatever while then criticizing the president for something that he actually has the power to do. It is just so rich because it always seems to be the things they criticize you for are the crimes that they are actually committing.